As real estate brokers, as real estate professionals who are committed to bringing you the absolute best of real estate when it comes to the Abuja real estate market, we are not just committed to educating you as it concerns this very jurisdiction alone. We have explained several terms, we have mentioned several terms as it concerns the Nigerian real estate market as a whole. And we have not really had time to touch on some of these terms we have mentioned, both in the legal niche and also in the construction niche. Well, in this said video, we'll be diving deep into one of those set terms that has been used several times in some of our past video sessions. Now, these set terms are one that is governing the entire vision of Abuja as its real estate is concerned. And these set terms are terms that is governing the entire land administration in Nigeria as a country. This is known as the Land Use Act of 1978. This would probably be the most in-depth conversation you're about to have when it comes to the Abuja real estate market or the Land Use Act of 1978 and how this said act has been laid out to govern the foundations of real estate in Nigeria as a nation. Do ensure to stay till the end because this is going to be a very valuable video for you as an investor who wants to play for the long term when it comes to investing into not just the Abuja real estate market, but also investing into other cities inside Nigeria. My name is Alifne David, and I am the real estate broker in the city of Abuja who is committed to bringing you the absolute best of real estate in this very city, educating you and also bringing you the most affordable and sustainable real estate investment opportunities in this very city. Now, let us get right into the conversation for today. In order for us to be in line with the laws being laid out when it comes to the real estate market in Nigeria, we would be using a copy of the Land Use Act of 1978. Now, you would permit me to read each and everything that concerns you as an investor. One thing I would want to say is that there are a lot of laws in this said book. But the ones we'll be going through for these particular video sessions are the ones that concerns you as an investor, what you should know as it comes to investing into the Nigerian real estate market as a whole, and most importantly, investing into the city of Abuja for sustainability and for protection of all your investment you'll be making moving forward after you've listened to this particular video. Now, I have noted down some points that we should take note of because I have gone through this particular book. And one thing I can tell you for a fact is that this is a comprehensive guide as it concerns real estate in not just Abuja, but in Nigeria as a whole. First thing first, we have to go to the vesting of each land located in a particular jurisdiction of whether be it a state or the FCT. Now note, this said book is also one of the major governing laws that is guiding real estate in the city of Abuja. So whatever I am stating here, also try to picture that said statement as though we are in the FCT jurisdiction as it were. First off, we have to talk about the vesting of all the lands in the state jurisdiction and also in the FCT to both the FCT minister and also to both the governors of each of these said states. And the law says that each of these said land in every state jurisdiction is vested upon the governor of that very state. Therefore, he or she has the power to allocate lands to individuals or to companies or entities for the purpose of both residential, commercial, and every other purposes that they want to use that said property for. And this is the infinite power given to every governor of every state jurisdiction. And this can be found in the page 7 of the Land Use Act of 1978. It says, subject to the provisions of this act, all land comprised in the territory of each state in the federation are hereby vested in the governor of that state, and such land shall be held in trust and administered for the use and the common benefit of all Nigerians according to the provisions of this very act. I hope this is very clear to you because, like I've stated earlier, all lands in the state jurisdictions are now vested upon the power of the state governor of that very land from the introduction of this very land law to the Nigerian Land Administration. Secondly, all lands that are in the urban areas of that very state are under the control and also under the management of the governor of each state. Therefore, he or she can now allocate lands in the urban areas So both the individuals or both entities who wants to use that said land for the purpose of whatever they want to use that very land for. Now, this also still says that local government, they are still in charge of allocating land in the rural areas. Your rural areas can now be both your villages and places that are not yet developed to be called a full city, right? And the governor has the power to now allocate land in urban areas, which are known as your cities, developed areas, to people who want to use the said land for whatever they want to use that very land for. The question that now comes in after the introduction of this very land law is that today a bush can later become a city in the future. And as of that very point, what now happens to the lands that are already allocated by the local government, by the local council? What now happens to those very lands that have been allocated by the local government? Right? This is where a loophole now comes in when it comes to the introduction of this very land law into the Nigerian Land Administration. Another tricky part about this very land law is that the governor now has the power to tell you as an individual or to tell the entire people under the jurisdiction of that very state where a rural area is and where an urban area is. Therefore, he or she is to publish in the State Gazette where an urban area is or where a local area is. I know there is a question now going through your head. If the FCT minister or the governor of that said state jurisdiction has the power to allocate lands to people, even if the land is still located in the rural area. Well, yes, according to the Land Use Act of 1978, the state governor or the FCT minister has the right to allocate lands to people, be it in the rural areas or in the urban areas. So that right now is settled. With going through the Land Use Act of 1978, I found out something pretty interesting, that your local government or your local council, they cannot allocate lands to individuals or entities when that said land is bigger than 500 hectares, unless they get the right permission from either the state government or it is called the governor's consent, unless they get the governor's consent of that particular transaction. And without that, they don't have the power to allocate massive lands, whether be it for agricultural purposes, for residential purposes, or for commercial purposes. So this is something you should note as an investor, because right now, one thing I can tell you for a fact is that before the recording of this very video, I was on a call with a client and he asked about a property that is located in a local council allocated property. And I had to explain why that is a risk of him if he's going to put his money in that sort of investment. Right? In Abuja, we have 6 different area councils, also known as the local government in your state jurisdiction. And as of right now, they don't have the power to allocate lands to whether it is entities or individuals. Right? And this is a bit tricky. Right? In the FCT Act, it states that the local council, they have the power to allocate lands in the urban areas. But after that said act, or towards the ending of the act of the FCT Act, it also now states that the federal government are the only preceding authorities that is given the right to allocate lands in the FCT jurisdiction. Therefore, the local council have no right or whatsoever to allocate land that is within the FCT jurisdiction to anybody, be it entities or be it individuals. So this is something you should take note of as an investor who is really interested in playing the long-term game when it comes to investing into this very city. With reading this particular book, I found out a lot of interesting things. All right, some things I am not at liberty to say at this very video, but when you give me a call and we talk privately, I can share some information that I have collected so far from this very Land Use Act. Right, something I found out is that if a property is allocated by the local council or the local government, you cannot sell that property as an individual, except you get the right to go ahead, also known as your governor's consent or your minister's consent, by you now selling that property off to whoever you are selling that property to. Right, so these are critical information so you should take note of as an investor. The next thing we'll be going into as it concerns the Land Use Act of 1978 are revocations. Does the FCT minister as well as the governors of each and every state has the power to revoke land? Well, the answer is a straight yes. Because they are the preceding authority of that very jurisdiction, they have the power, they have the authority to revoke land, whether it is going against public interest whether the government is interested in that very location, whether it is for mining or whether it's for the refining of oil. They have the power to revoke land for that very purpose. But one thing I have to tell you is that after that said land has been revoked, you are obligated to collect a compensation because that said land has been first allocated to you before they found out that said land has mineral resources or has oil in it. Therefore, you have the right to a compensation after they've revoked that very property. Now, the reasons why land is revoked in the FCT jurisdiction are for several reasons. One, going against the contract that has been given to you on your CofO property or your ROFO property, known as the right of occupancy. Now, there are some certain fines or there are some certain ground rents you need to pay according to the drafted contract between you and the government on that very CofO or on that very RFO that you are meant to pay yearly. And with you defaulting on those said payments or not complying to the drafted agreement between you and the governor of that very state jurisdiction or the FCT minister, he or she has the power to revoke the title that has already been given to you because you are non-compliant to the rule that has been drafted out by that very government. If this video has been decided for you so far, do ensure to subscribe to this channel and like this video, because here we are building wealth leveraging on real estate with the right information and also sharing the most sustainable real estate investment opportunities in the city of Abuja. Once again, my name is Alifne David and I am the real estate broker in the city of Abuja who is committed to bringing you the absolute best of real estate, educating you and also bringing you the most affordable real estate investment opportunities in this very city. I would see you on our next video session. Until then, stay safe.